Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Mike's not so instant TV series season 1 review. What is the show called? 90 Day Fiancé, I believe it's called. Okay, so I have seen the title of this show for years. It's an intriguing title. I never watched the show before today. Why did you watch the show today, Mike? I was doing some wonderful writing at home on my computer, and then I have this kind of a space station set up. I have a secondary computer, which is mostly used for the podcasting and for watching content while I'm doing my own thing. While I'm on one computer doing stuff, the diagonal computer is like my YouTube or my whatever the fuck channel. So on this one, I'm trying to remember, I think it must have been Hulu. I'm watching this on Hulu. And I'm guessing this show has been around for 10 or 15 years, this 90 Day Fiancé. I mean, they didn't show, like, these days, the way that you can tell how old an episode or a show is by the tech. Like, if someone's using, like, a slide phone or a flip phone, it's like, okay, that's from the early 2000s. This show, I couldn't really tell. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe 2012, 2014. Which is 10 years old, but it's not that old. And the show doesn't really reference, from what I understand or what I remember, it doesn't particularly reference political events or world events or anything like that. They don't say who's playing in the Super Bowl this year. It's all about the romance between, for the most part, season 1. We're only going to cover season 1 here. I started to watch season 2, but let's stick with season 1. It's only men, 4 cases of men, Americano men, with these international brides. I don't want to say foreign. I don't want to be discriminatory. I mean, we're foreign to them. They're foreign to us. But these women that these guys have all met, they're careful not to say they're not mail order brides. They all met on dating websites. Yeah, okay. So you meet these women on dating websites, but they're from another country. Yes, we get it. And basically, why is this happening? Well, I'll just be honest with you. I mean, there's a whole thing about this. A lot of American men are just sick of fucking American women. They all want to be Instagram models. They all want to be princesses and whores at the same time. That's what other guys say. I don't say stuff like that. They all want to be loved and cherished and then shake their booty at the nightclub with all these assholes. So basically, the smart men, the guys that have enough money to afford it, basically, and are just sick of these situations, they're finding these international brides that are, no offense to their countries, but obviously they're leaving their home country because there's a lack of prosperity or a lack of food or something going on where these women want to leave their homeland to come to the good old USA. Now, in the show, some of these women, like, I gotta be honest with you, like, why, I guess just there's a fucking question, and, you know, I've only lived in the United States. I can't really speak for other countries, but I mean, some of these countries, is Brazil such a bad country to live in? I mean, it seems kind of nice to me. I don't know. I don't have all the answers to all the questions, but it doesn't seem like some of these women are leaving particularly bad situations. But I guess Russia, that's a little tough. So we meet these 4 couples. I'm trying to remember. It's just, you know, I watched all of season 1 in one day. There's one guy who gets, I believe she's the Brazilian lady, just a real smoke show. I mean, just a fucking unbelievable, like a gorgeous woman, voluptuous, but thin at the same time, which is always nice. Looks natural enough. I mean, who knows? But I mean, she's really just a gorgeous woman, like an intimidatingly fierce, attractive woman. And this Oklahoma guy, who's a good-looking young guy, too. He's probably, I think he's 26, 27. They actually seem like they might work. Like, you know, and that's the whole fun of the show is, like, are these couples going to work? But, I mean, he's a pretty fairly decent enough looking guy. They're about the same age. You know, she's really smoking hot, and it's like, okay, dude, you know, good luck with that, because obviously she's going to get hit on for the rest of her life, and, you know, so forth. And then I mean, it's just funny, because there's a lot of patterns with these couples. You know, his parents, they're all overwhelmed by this chick, and she's so unlike them. Like, she's not going to sit around and eat a hot dog, but she kind of gets into some American stuff. She gets into football. They go to an Oklahoma Sooners game, and she's playing football, and he says, hey, for a girl who's never thrown a football before, she had a nice tight spiral. So, I mean, they seem like they're heavily after, but she has expensive taste. I mean, there's some real interesting things in this show. You know, and this was a good show for me to watch because I was working on my novel, so to speak, while having this show in the background. And part of the interesting thing of this show is who makes the bigger sacrifice? You know, who's doing more of the work? On the surface, you could say, well, hey, look, the guy's paying for everything. You know, this chick comes over here, he's buying the plane tickets, he's paying for all this stuff. And a lot of these guys, like, they think that, okay, I'm going to get myself a bride and I'll do whatever it takes. But once you have to start doing what it takes, i.e. paying for all this crap, then it becomes a little tougher. And it's like, you know, of course, this happens a couple of times. The brides all want the most expensive fucking wedding dress, you know, because they just want to look pretty. They just want to have a happy day. But of course, they're not the ones working to get the money to pay for these things, right? So they just assume that they're living in their own fucking fantasy world. They think they're all princesses. And some of these women, like there's this other couple in the show, of the four couples, the Mormon couple, he's like 27 or 29, you know, regular looking Chad, regular looking kind of goofy guy. And he's got like this 21-year-old, you know, so fucking small, petite, and she's so little. And then she comes over here, and then she's getting her hair done up for their wedding, and the, you know, intervening American hairdresser interferes and starts filling this lady's head full of ideas. Oh, you should be a model. I've got a friend that can help you with the modeling industry. So now she's basically hijacking the hairdresser, the interfering yenta of a hairdresser is screwing up this poor European girl's mind, you know, making her want to be a model that she never thought of before. And now suddenly she's a model. And it's like, oh God. And this poor Mormon guy is like, I just want my, you know, fucking foreign bride here. I don't want her to be showing her body off to all these creeps. And he's you know, a Mormon and all that crap, so he's a weirdo as it is. So then that's all this wonderful stuff is going on. And the other couple, okay, the couple that kind of looks, I mean, to be honest with you, like when you're watching this show, you really get the sense of, wow, us Americans really have issues with our weight, because all the American people, I'm speaking, you know, as one of the tribe here, not outside of the problem, but in it. One of the guys, you know, he's a divorced guy. He's, you know, big and bulky. He's got two sons that are, you know, pretty overweight at a young age. His ex-wife is like a hipster, and she's overweight and heavily tattooed. And, you know, he's just a big chubby guy, and his family, you know, everyone's like, all the moms of these guys are all kind of overweight on this show. And it's just like, you hear like international people say when they come to Disney World or something, oh, all you Americans are fat fucks. It's kind of true. You know, not all, but many. So what can you do? So this guy, him and his wife, who, oh God, where is she? The Philippines. She comes over and she starts putting on the pounds, just being here in the fucking US of A. And then she's getting all upset because, like, her friends back home are telling her she's becoming fat and she can't fit into a fucking nice wedding dress. And he's telling her, I love you anyway. But it's like, you know, she does manage to lose a few pounds before the wedding. She's 30, the Philippine lady, the Filipino. He's not too much older, but there is like kind of a thing, especially with the Mormon case is probably the most evident, and one other case that I'll get to. The Mormon guy and his little bride-ski, you know, he looks like he's at the tail end of his 20s. She's at the beginning of her 20s. She is so tiny and petite and looks so young. And this guy, he's 29, but he looks like he's 35. You know what I mean? Like and he's actually has the gall to say something like, everyone tells me how pretty she is, but nobody says what a good-looking couple you are. Well, asshole, because you're not good-looking. You got yourself the hot little wife, but that doesn't make you better-looking, asshole. So, what else? Then the couple that's really like, if you thought any of these couples were not going to get along, I mean, I don't want to confuse the couples, but there's one where, like, the girl, she has this phobia, like, she doesn't like to eat food in front of other people, which is kind of weird, and her, fiance guy, and the whole deal with this is they have 90 days by the government. The government says if you have an international fiance, you can get them over to the States, and they can get citizenship, but they have to marry your ass within 90 days. So basically, you get like a 90-day window, and if they don't marry you, they got to go home. So it's a really cool concept for a show. Like I said, I'm just watching this now. You assholes have probably seen every season and know all the people. I've only seen season 1 and parts of episode 1 on season 2, so don't spoil it for me. So, but basically, she doesn't want to eat in front of other people. His mom is all pissed off about it. And it's just interesting stuff. And that couple, I didn't think they would make it, because that guy, no offense to him, but he's kind of, follically challenged, a little on the chubby side, or, quite a bit. He's like a guy that looks like an IT guy, not very attractive in a conventional sense, and she's kind of cute, and it's like, they don't look too good. Like, of all the couples, they probably look the most mismatched. She looks like she's very quiet, and he's kind of quiet too, so maybe that's why it does work. The smoking hot brunette chick and the Oklahoma guy who lives with his parents, he lives with his parents, so he's trying to move her into his parents' home, and she's not, like I said, all these chicks think they're fucking princesses. You know what I mean? She demands better. It's interesting, like I said, it's who's making the bigger sacrifice. Is it the person that's giving up their lives and their family and their friends to come to this country? Or is it the guy who's paying for all this crazy shit? So I don't know. I mean, at times it's like, why bother with all this madness? And then you see how hot that chick is and how hot the 21-year-old model is. And then you're like, okay, now I see why. So there you go. So anyway, I thought it was a cool show. This is the show. There's a certain thing when I'm doing my valuable writing in the world, okay, when I'm writing things and I'm on the computer and I have the secondary computer on, I don't want some show that's so engrossing that it's going to take away my full attention. It has to be like one step above background music. You know what I mean? Not background noise, but something like elevated where like it stimulates my mind, but it's not so stimulating that I can't attend to my novel that I'm working on. And then you might be saying, how can you write a novel when you're doing this? Well, it's actually basically just another draft of a novel that's already published, Fight or Play Basketball, the wonderful book. So I'm just basically tweaking it a little bit, going through and kind of making a new file because the file is outdated. It's just complicated. So... but yeah, that brunette chick is so goddamn hot that you're like really proud of that Oklahoma fuck. You don't know how you can afford this chick. She wants to buy the fucking $400 pink cowboy boots. Like everything he wants to do with her, she has to do the most expensive boots, the most expensive wedding dress. So I mean, there's a little bit of I don't know what to call it. Princess syndrome. Like all these chicks think they're fucking princesses. All these guys, like I said, they think they're going to do a smart thing here because they're going to get some nice international bride and not have to deal with you laborious American women. But basically, they don't realize that these chicks come with a price tag, okay? And it's not just the fucking visa or the fucking airplane. You got to feed them. They're not going to fucking work anytime soon. So you got to do all the goddamn work. Then you got to buy them shit. And these women have expensive tastes. And then it's kind of gets into this ground of like, how much of this is actual love? And how much is this like a business arrangement? Like, okay, we'll love each other, but you have to pay for all this crazy shit, and I have to make the sacrifice of leaving my family and friends in my country. Well, obviously, you don't give half a fuck about your country if you're so willing to leave. You know what I mean? So it's like these chicks are looking for a better life. They don't want to just be like, you know, daughter number 6 of Gustav's fucking daughter's factory back home. They want to get their freedom on, and so they come here and they find these dopey American guys who are willing to pay for all this shit, and then happily fucking ever after, okay? So, like I said, I found it to be an interesting show. The show, to its goddamn credit, it does a nice job of editing so that you think these couples are going to break up, because that's kind of why we're all watching. Like, we don't want to see them be happy. We want to see one of these international chicks come over here and, like, hate the guy and maybe kill him or just not like him, you know what I mean? So we want to see some good drama, but the way they edit the show, like, they kind of fabricated this whole thing between one of the chicks, and her soon-to-be mother-in-law, where it seemed like the mother-in-law was kind of yelling at her, but she really wasn't. And she's like, "Oh, my son's gonna marry this crazy woman. Why don't you marry a Russian guy?" But it wasn't as hard-edged as they edited it. So they do like the fucking editing, like the clickbait editing, basically, to keep your rap. But I mean, you do kind of wonder or wish, like, hey, which couple's not gonna work out? Okay, so I'll give you a sneak peek. Please don't spoil it for me. I started to watch season 2, episode 1, and kind of exactly what I was hoping for, or thinking, like, hey, where's like the American woman getting the fucking foreign guy? And boom, fucking season 2, you got the 41-year-old divorced mother of 2 with like 2 teenage kids. And she's got like Mustafa he's like a 26-year-old guy from wherever the fuck. And it's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So now we got the 26-year-old guy who looks like, a mid guy, like just a regular guy from wherever the fuck. And he's got like this frumpy librarian-looking 41-year-old lady who's already got like teenage kids. And she's bringing him in, And it's like, okay, true love. It's true love, right? Give me a goddamn break. So that's it, folks. I mean, I'm going to watch more of this show. I think this will be I've been watching Schitt's Creek, which I've been enjoying as my background fodder. But I think that this show, and I believe there's 10 seasons of it, so I've got so much to enjoy of this. I'm just excited. I'm happy. I'm not excited or happy. I don't really get those emotions. But it's like, oh, cool, I got a new little thing to do. But I'll tell you, once again, that brunette, whatever her fucking name, her name is Pow, season 1, my God. So I'm kind of curious whatever happened to her. Like, do they do reunion shows for this fucking show? Like, do they bring the couples back together? Do we get little updates? Do we know if Pow and Sir Lancelot are still together? Or this little model chick, like the 21-year-old, did she become a full-time model? She has a wonderful face for it. She's so petite. That's it, folks. So I say, if you haven't seen this show, watch it, because it's pretty fun. MikeMessier.com.